More and more, day by day, we're getting reports of classic literature shows, uh, entertainment of their time being edited to conform to the delicate sensibilities of modern Hollywood and modern society. And this lovely little article from Bounding into Comics goes into it a little bit more. Tom Hanks himself rebukes his own publisher for quote unquote updating classic stories from P.G. Wodehouse. Let me decide what I am offended by. What an interesting take on things. Who would have thunk it? Let the audience decide. Let the customer decide. Consumer is a nasty word. But nobody's listening. Maybe they are. Speak with your wallet, people. Actor Tom Hanks, who is currently promoting his novel, The Making of Another Major Motion Picture Masterpiece, that's a fucking mouthful, rebuked his own publisher, Penguin Random House, for updating classic P.G. Wodehouse works. Yeah, it's not the only thing that people are so-called updating. Telegraph reported back in April that Penguin Random House edited a number of P.G. Wodehouse's works because they deemed the prose unacceptable. Who is the arbiter of what is unacceptable and what is not? Who makes that call? It's the thought police. Let people think for themselves. Let people make that decision. Let people make their decisions with their wallet, with their pocketbooks, with their purses. And everything else will be figured out. Whatever sells, they'll make more. Whatever doesn't sell, they'll stop making it. DC and Marvel Comics are starting to figure that out slowly but surely with the atrocities of changes that they're making to decades-old legacy characters. Changing stories and genders and sexual proclivities for an audience that does not even buy the book. But I digress. Not only did they edit his works, but they also added trigger warnings, because everyone's a fucking sensitive baby, at the beginning of his books. The Telegraph reports one of the warnings for Thank You Jeeves reads, quote, "Please be aware that this book was published in the 1930s and contains language, themes, and characterizations which you may find outdated." You don't say. A book published in the 1930s could possibly have language in it that's outdated. Oh my, clutch my pearls. Quote, "In the present edition, we have sought to edit, minimally, bullshit, words that we regard as unacceptable to present-day readers. Furthermore, the Telegraph reports the trigger warning says the edits do not affect the story." Yes, it absolutely affects the story. Any changes you make to a work of art, whether you consider it art or not, it is art. Any changes you make to a work of fiction, novel, movie, music, it changes. It affects the story. Whoever wrote, sang, performed, any of these things had a reason for putting those words in there. Changing it changes the fundamental nature of the piece. But let's continue. Penguin Random House was not the only publisher to edit classic books. The Telegraph reported in February that Puffin edited a number of Roald Dahl's novels. Yep, I talked about that before. As well as Agatha Christie and James Bond. The outlet noted they changed the descriptions of a number of characters in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Yes, because you can't call Augustus Gloop fat. Okay. No longer described as fat, but rather enormous. Oh my God, that's not better. Hey, people, you want to be called enormous? Oh my goodness. Augustus Gloop was a character of the greedy little fat kid. It was an overdone stereotype. That was the point. Just like, oh wow, I can't remember her name. Anyway, I want the world. The outlet noted they changed the descriptions of a number of characters in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, specifically noting that Augustus Gloop was no longer described as fat, but rather enormous, because, oh, good Lord, the Oompa Loompas also had their descriptions of tiny, titchy, and no higher than a knee, which are literal just adjectives, were changed to small. They were also changed small men to small people. Oh, go fuck your... The The Telegraph also reported Puffin wasn't just changing Dahl's writing, but were adding in their own lines to the novel. That is blasphemy. That's ridiculous. This is 1984. The thought police are taking over. Okay, that might be a little bit hyperbolic, but you get what I mean. In The Witches, Puffin added, quote, there are plenty of other reasons why women might wear... Oh, good God almighty. There are plenty of other reasons why women might wear wigs. That's an alliteration mouthful. Women might wear wigs. Okay, women might bleh. Susie sells, she sells by the... I didn't even say that one right. Let's move on. And there is certainly nothing wrong with that. Of course there is. Oh, no, that was the quote. That's what they added to it. Women might wear wigs. Yes, because they're in disguise, they're bald, they have alopecia. Other changes were made to Miss Trunchbull in Matilda, a song verse in James and the Giant Peach, the cloud men being turned into cloud people. Oh, for fuck's sake, this pronoun bullshit is starting to get annoying. Oh my God. I have a tendency to keep my mouth shut about this whole pronoun crap, but this is ridiculous. Call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. I genuinely don't care. You live how you want to live. Full stop. But going through and changing, this is a problem, because essentially, where does it stop? That is what I said. That's what I will always say. You give in a little bit here and there. Where do you draw the line? Where do you stop? Because they will not. These people who want to go and edit classic works of literature, songs, movies, they want to edit that. They want just a little bit here, just a little bit there. It doesn't affect the story. They will not stop until 100% everything is changed, either for sensibilities or to change history. Cleopatra, Anne Boleyn, all these other things. Just as an example, they will not stop until their ideological nonsense is everywhere and pushed on everyone, almost like the Catholic Church. HarperCollins also reportedly edited a number of Agatha Christie works. Yep, talked about that too. It's so horseshit. Nubian is not a bad word. Oriental is not a bad word. It's an adjective describing an area of the planet, for fuck's sake. Nubian. Oh my God. That's a term of endearment as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, a little bit of... Where was I? I forgot. My mind drifted somewhere. HarperCollins also reported edited a number of Agatha Christie works that featured the terms Oriental and Nubian. Nubian's not a bad word. Fuck off. Other edits were made to remove descriptions such as disgusting. Okay, and even pulling the N-word out. No! You are changing... sign of their times. It was a word used at the time. Oh, God. I personally think the word is foul, but I'm not going to push anyone to change works of literature because, my feelings are hurt and I don't like a word. Oh! Ian Fleming Productions, Ltd., also edited what The Telegraph reports as, quote, depictions of black people. Okay. The company included trigger warnings from the beginning of the new publication of Fleming's novels that read, this book was written at a time. Why do we need trigger warnings? This is so ridiculous. It's a word. To quote George Carlin's, there's no such thing as a bad word. There's bad intentions, and there's words. Context, intention. What is the context of the words being used in the novel, in the story? If the context fits, leave it there. I'm not going to say it must have quit. No. It adds a number of a number of updates that have been made to this edition while keeping as close as possible to the original text and period in which it was set. Once you change anything in the book, it is no longer it's no longer the original text. It is no longer close. It is fundamentally changed. But Tom Hanks apparently came out and grew a spine and started standing up to bullshit like this. So, reacted to this trend, telling the BBC, quote, I'm of the opinion that we're all grown-ups here. Yes, some of us are, but obviously there's a bunch of pasty-faced wimps. That was terrible. Anyway, let's have faith in our own sensibilities. I have no faith in any modern sensibilities, as opposed to having somebody decide what we may or may not be offended by. Such words of wisdom, Tom. You think you could spread that amongst the other parasites in Hollywood? He added, let me decide what I'm offended by and what I'm not offended by. I would be against reading any book from any era that says abridged due to modern sensibilities. Yeah, I wouldn't want to read it either. It's a complete and total failing. And any publisher that sits there and comes out and says, we're changing the book, but we're still going to make the original one available, it's only going to be available while supplies last, because eventually they're just going to stop printing them. It will suddenly be sold out, and the only thing you will be able to purchase is the new, edited, updated version for the delicate modern sensibilities, for the nothing but generation of babies. How do you grow up on South Park and be offended? Hanks would then pivot in what appears to be an attempt to deflect criticism of his comments, saying, understand this, James Bond has a license to kill. I would issue that license to Idris Elba just based on the work I've seen him do. Okay, not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind seeing Idris Elba as a 007. He be good to a 007. Okay. Idris Elba would be a fantastic spy. Maybe not James Bond, because, God, everyone would have problems here, issues there. I don't know. I don't think people would have a problem if Idris Elba showed up as James Bond himself. A lot less. I'm sure Hollywood and the lamestream media would blow it way out of proportion. But to see Idris Elba as a spy, maybe as one of the double O's, one of the other ones, 006, 009, whatever. Put him in a spy movie, in a serious espionage movie, and you're going to print money. That's all there is to it. Hollywood doesn't know how to do that anymore. But what do you think of Hanks's comments about these publishers? I think he's spot on. Whatever your opinion of Tom Hanks, Hank Hill, whatever your opinion of Tom Hanks as of late, he is still a fantastic actor. Wonderful performances throughout his illustrious career. To think that more and more Hollywood elites are coming out against this ideological nonsense it's a bit refreshing, to say the least. But what do you think? Tell me what you think. I've talked about the censorship in these different novels and how it's an actual atrocity. It's ridiculous. You're destroying classic works of art. Leave them as they are. Stop editing them. Hey, maybe write something new. But that's beating a dead horse. But that's all I've got for now. Leave a like, leave a dislike, give me a sub. Come on. Thank you for making it this far. See you on the next one.